All right, back at it. My apologies for the huge lapse in time on my long format stuff. Hopefully the shorts have been keeping you company. But with with Instagram revealing themselves as the knife makers Gestapo, banning everything we post, no matter what it is, I'm going to focus more on this platform right here. With that in mind, I believe you know why you're here. You saw this video thumbnail and I'm sure you're like, okay, Clark Forges. So I needed to get a new press. The 12 ton that I have, it was a great starter press, but now with my needs, I really wanted to get something bigger. I was debating between a 60 ton and a 25 ton coal iron press, and I did a poll on Instagram, and I had a few people message me and ask me why I'm not considering a Clark iron forge, or sorry, a Clark iron press. And I'm like, well, I didn't even know about them. So here we are. They have a lot of people were telling me that they're great machines, and boy, they're a lot cheaper than coal iron. So let me show you really quick. So here we are on the coal iron website, and as you can see, their newer style H-frame press is $7,125 and shipping calculated at checkout. So that is not even with shipping included, and I'm guessing that's going to be depending on where they have to ship it, and if you need tailgate service, all that stuff, you're probably looking at $500 to $1,000 tacked on top of that. And as you can see, 25 ton, 5 horsepower manual foot treadle. So let's go over to the Clark iron. And here we are on the Clark iron website. And so he also does a 40 ton press, which I was thinking about, but then just kind of opted out. So here's his 25 ton press. It doesn't say, but it's also got with a 220 volt, you'd assume it's 5 horsepower, but yeah, it is 5 horsepower. I talked to him about it. So price, shipping included, $4,700. Now, I have experience with coal, and I know they make really good presses, and I'm sure greed has a little bit to do with it, but coal also has a more overhead, employees to pay, so they obviously have to charge a little more for their presses. I believe this is a one-man thing, maybe 2 guys, but from what I've heard, these are great presses. So this is why I decided to go this route. I mean, this is almost half the price, a little more than half the price, but that's a significant saving. So that's why I went this route. And I know that if you're in his area, you can come pick these up for, I think he had one on his website for $4,000 if you came to pick it up. So anyway, he's always got some really good deals. So maybe go follow him, clarkironforge.com, or this is clarkironforge.com, and I think it's just Clark Iron Forge on Instagram. So support the community. Go give him a follow. You can see up here that his 40 ton is $6,800, so that's about the same price you're going to pay as 25 ton through coal iron. So as of now, this is all word of mouth to me, but I've got this machine right over here, and might as well hop over there and start getting it unboxed. I need to build a bench for it first, and I wanted to wait to get it to see what size I needed to build the bench, because I want as small of a footprint as I can get, because space is limited in my shop. So I wanted to be able to measure the thing first, because it has dimensions, but I need it to kind of figure out what size I want to build. And with there not being a lot of information, a lot of videos about these Clark iron presses, I figured I would take the time to try to do a more in-depth video so that people know what they're getting into when they buy this. So with all that laid down, let's hop over and get this thing opened up. Okay, here's how this thing was shipped in, minus the steel tube sitting on top of it. So first things first, I'm going to give you the dimensions of this shipping crate. Let me get this tube out of the way because we won't be needing that. All right, here's what we've got. We've got 25 inches by 25 inches, and we are like 48 and a half tall. It'll probably vary a little bit here and there, but this also came on a regular 4x4 pallet. And it showed up, for me, it showed up on ABF. They showed up in a 52-foot trailer with a lift gate on the back. So he was able to pull it right off of his trailer, wheel it up to my garage, and went on his way. It was about 10 minutes from him getting here to him driving away. Okay, in this instance, I've got 3/8 inch screws holding this whole thing together. I'm gonna pop the top off first, and yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of screws you use, but these are for metal. They're self-tapping. They have some little screws or some rubber washers on them. I'm gonna pop this bill of lading off of here. I don't need all my precious information getting out to anybody. Not that I don't trust you, but. All right, looking inside, just the top looks well packaged, and I'm gonna keep these screws because I am a hardware hoarder. I have a hard time throwing things away that can be repurposed. One day I'll show you all the stuff I have. Get all these unscrewed. Got a bunch down on the bottom that you can't see. All right, I'm just gonna get this whole thing off of here. You don't need to watch me unscrew all these, but anyway, just on the side, it looks like you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side, and then, well, 4 on each side, and then 3 across the top and the bottom. So, well secured. There was no damage, visible damage on this thing when I got it. So, whoever loaded this, I guess, knew what they were doing. So over here, this side's nailed together. So we're just gonna leave that. Swing this back around. So as you might be able to tell, this thing's tipped in here. So I'm really hoping that it looks like it broke through the bottom. So there might need to be a little more support on the bottom of this. And down here we've got one of the dies that he sends, top or bottom. I'm not sure if it matters yet, but this is a drawing die. It looks like it's just like maybe 1.5 inch round, which perfectly fine with me. It doesn't need to be some CNC shaped H16 hardened piece of steel. I don't understand why they send heat treated steel like the coal iron stuff. To me, it's just kind of a gimmick to feel like they're getting more when they pay, you know, $400 for a set of dies. I've never been a big fan of that with coal iron. It's almost like printer companies where you buy the printer for a fair amount, and then when you have to buy ink for it, they charge you, you know, way too much for it. Anyway, there's a little bit of bubble wrap in here. Not exactly sure how much that's going to help with a... Oh, by the way, the shipping weight, it says on the bill of lading, is 500 pounds. So I'm really hoping I can handle this by myself. I was able to get my super heavy drill press up on the bench by myself, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna get something to pull this frame apart. I really wish I would have known, or I really wish I knew what I did with my Stanley foo bar. That's great for pulling stuff apart, but this will work just fine. So this is a whole mix of screws, nails. We got staples up here. These ones are Torx. And then we had our self-tapping steel screws. So it's always nice when it's one type of hardware, so you don't have to sift through all your different kinds of bits. All right, so as you can see right here, there was no support under this, so it did break right through that base. I don't think there's any damage, but we'll get everything figured out as soon as we get this thing pulled out of this crate. All right, let's see if we can just wiggle this thing out of here. Maybe. All right, definitely got some weight to it. I mean, kind of already figure that's going to be the case. All right. Okay, that part's out. And down here we've got, these are the flatter dies. And then I also got a set of squaring dies for canisters and stuff like that. Those are easy to make, but his price on dies is really fair. So, all right. And then down here, we've got the motor, the oil tank, and everything basically to run the press. So this is a little more manageable, not near as heavy as the frame. So lift that out, man, that's probably like 75 pounds tops. Okay, so that frame, or that crate, we're done with it. So let me get that out of here, make some room, and then we'll get some measurements for our bench, our rolling bench for this thing. Okay, here's our measurements. I got this kind of cleaned up. I think I missed a little wood, but I believe this is listed on the website. A little scuffing right there. So we're a little shy of 16 inches by almost exactly 10. So 16 by 10 is the actual footprint of the base of this frame. But over here we have the controls, the manifold. I think that's what it's called. So if we're gonna build a bench for this, I kind of want this to be somewhat blocked from, you know, if you're rolling this around, you don't want these more delicate parts to smash into something and bend them, break, whatever. So our bench, I think we're safe, let's say like an inch or two past the left side of the frame. And then from there, we're probably gonna go, I'm gonna say, probably just like a couple inches past this fitting right here. So we'll say 26 inches. So we'll do a bench that's 26 inches, or a cart that's 26 inches wide. And I want to leave probably 4 inches of space to the front side of this so I can set things on it to catch a little bit of the forge scale. And then I also want to go past where the hydraulic lines bend. And that's going to be changing because we're going to run these down. Because this is going to, I'm going to put the control unit, the power, the motor and everything underneath. So it's kind of out of the way. So with the lines running down, I'm going to kind of give us probably like a foot behind. So if we do that, like a foot behind the back side of the frame. So 24. So we're just going to do a square 26 by 26. I think that's going to be perfect. So 26 by 26. So I kind of wasn't thinking for a second. So because I'm going to place this underneath, I need to make sure this is going to fit within that 26 by 26 footprint. So I want to go to a little bit past the left side of this, a little bit past the right side of this. So with 26, that's going to be perfect. That's going to give us about 1.5 inches, 2 inches on the left side, 1.5 inches, 2 inches on the right side. And then we're going to have plenty width-wise. So we need at least 26 by 26. That's going to cover everything I want to cover. So here's something I didn't take into consideration. I forgot that I've got these big pieces of steel that I was going to use for the top and the shelf for the power unit. So because I don't want to have to cut this, we're going to go 29 wide, which is really close to what I wanted, but the depth is only going to be able to be 18.5, which is still perfectly fine because I was going way past the back. So just using what I have existing, it's still going to be a good cart, and then I just won't have to cut as much. So for the top and bottom of the frame, I've got this U channel. So basically what I do is I just go to my local metal mart, and whatever remnants they have at the time, that's usually what I get. I would have preferred angle iron, and they had a little bit of it, but they didn't have enough to do the whole entire thing. So I got angle iron for the uprights, and then this U channel for the frame. I might do it opposite of that. No, because I want the angle iron to go around the corner. So sticking with that, angle iron for the uprights, this for the frame of the top and bottom. And then I've also got to have a place for the casters to mount because I want to be able to roll this thing around. And so I'm going to build this. I don't think you need to watch me build it. Maybe I'll have a little bit of B-roll footage to slap in here, but for the most part, this video isn't about building a cart. So I'm just going to get this built, and then when I get the press on here, we can go through all of its pros and cons, and then kind of stick with the theme of the actual video. All right, I'm almost done with this cart. I opted out of filming cutting steel and welding. I've actually got a little bit more welding to do. I got to flip it over, and then there's some spots I wanted to wait until I flipped it over to get to. I also ran out of argon, so I had to switch back to shielded wire and all that crap. And anyway, it's almost done, and I'm not going to film me trying to put the frame on here because I'm probably going to poop my pants trying to lift this thing up and say a bunch of swear words that we probably don't need on YouTube. I mean, this isn't made for kids, but kids might be watching it, and I'm sure they've heard it all. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to flip this, get that on there, and then I'll come back when I've got this thing placed. How's that sound? And I'm probably not going to poop my pants, but I am going to swear a little bit. Okay, so here's where we are. The cart seems fine. If I feel like it needs some more support, I'll put a few little gussets or something in the corner to give it a little extra support. But As you can see, it's up there. I'm not gonna quite bolt it down yet until I kind of get a feel of where I like it best sitting on there. But you can see it's up there and ready to be hooked up. So as you can see, it comes with these little quick connects, and it looks like he's got a female on one side and a male on the other, so you can't get the hookup incorrect. And honestly, between you and me, I didn't know that there was an in and an out. I must have just gotten lucky with my coal iron, because I've disconnected and reconnected that a few times, and yeah, it works just fine. Anyway, let me get these hooked up. I'm going to run these down and plop them in their receptacles. Okay, that was fun. Those quick connects weren't quite as easy to get on as I thought, so I had to do a little bit of YouTubing. And apparently with those, if you have any sort of pressure in there, they don't open up. So you have to give the tip a little tap with something that won't screw up the tip. And hopefully I didn't screw up the tip. But anyway, once you release the pressure out of them, then they connect no problem. So directions probably would have been helpful. Anyway, here's another thing that directions would be helpful is, so I talked to Clark and he told me to use tractor fluid. So I typically use like an ISO 46 or an ISO 32, and he said that this stuff will make it run quieter, and it kind of makes sense because I think it's a less viscous fluid. So if you're in a area that gets really cold in the winter like I am, this actually might be a better way to go. It won't get quite as viscous and hard to start up, because my 12-ton does struggle in the winter until it warms up. So I'm going to fill it with this stuff and hopefully it is perfect. All right, hydraulic fluid is in. Now time to plug it in, and we'll give it a whirl. And it's a 220 because it's a 5 horsepower motor. And then it's got this, I can't remember what it's called, but this shape of plug. All right, hopefully it's good to go. Switch it on. So he said 4 to 5 gallons is how much hydraulic fluid you need, and I probably put 4 in there. And not too loud. I think it's a little louder than my my 12-ton, but that's kind of to be expected. So here's this one. Get kind of about the same distance from it, and then I can kick on my. Yeah, that one's got kind of a weird whine to it. And I think it might have something to do with, I mean, you can kind of see that spindle is exposed right down here, where the spindle on my coal iron is covered. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. I might actually put a cover around this maybe, because that kind of high-pitched noise might drive me crazy, or I don't know, I might get used to it, who knows. So this thing running, let's come up here, see how this works. So it's definitely, I mean, obviously slower than my 12-ton, but it's still fast enough that it's going to be really good. So another thing I might do is reposition this switch, or I don't know, looks like I can hit it with my foot, no problem. So you can see right down here, probably be really easy to hit with my foot, or I could just get a foot pedal, kind of like what I use in my for my router and stuff like that. You just click it, come on, quick it come off, but I think this will be fine. Looks like it's easy enough to do that with. So that might be all right. So what I'm gonna do really quick is I'm gonna compare some of the things on this press with some of the things on my 12 ton. I know it's gonna be, you know, comparing oranges to tangerines, I guess. I don't know. It's the same thing, but obviously different. One's more powerful. So the first thing is the motor. This is definitely a little bit louder, but still it's not louder so much as it's just a different noise. There's kind of like a whine with this one versus the 12 ton, which is a hum. So first thing is this mounting system. I know on their 25 ton they have a more quick change type of thing, but the one on the 12 ton is pretty much trash in my opinion. So with something that's so small that you have to swap these out a lot. This is the thing I hate the most about this. So I got this before they made this design change, and it used to be just a hole. So you'd have to take these screws all the way out, put your die in, put the screws all the way back in, and I basically just cut mine so I could slide it in and then swing it in there like that. And then I guess they changed theirs so that it's just 2 open slots going this way, so you just slide it in, lock it down. But I still hate to have a wrench to change my dies. It's just ridiculous on something that you change so much. Now as far as Clark Iron's design, to me this is just beautiful. You have these big old base plates. It looks like, man, I want to say that's 1/2 inch steel. Probably overkill, because I mean it's not going to smash that steel, and you already have this gigantic thick 1 inch base plate there. But yeah, we're 1/2 inch steel for the base plate, so I don't know if that's necessary, but whatever. Anyway, it just slides in there like that. And then this, oh, there we go. That makes sense. I thought you had to swing this up, and it's just like it's gonna fall over anyway. But it looks like you swing it down, so gravity will hold it in place. Yeah, okay, so that's pretty amazing, actually. And then the top, you have the same thing. So you swing that up, pop that in there, drop it in, you're done. Because I was actually thinking I'd make myself a set of combo plates, you know, flat on one side, round on the other. But as quick as you can change these, I mean, pop that out, put the flatter in. That one's a little big. Probably gonna have to fix that because it doesn't want to go in all the way. Yeah, I'll definitely have to fix that, but there's a minus. Just trying to see here. Looks like there's some notches cut out of this one and no notches cut out of that. So that, oh yeah, that makes sense because this material is rounded on the back side. So this needs to be, oh, hold on a second. All right, so there's a difference between the top and the bottom one. Don't know if that's necessary. Maybe I'll just round the other one anyway, just so whatever. But I mean, see how quick you can change that. And then squaring dies. Oop, there we go. Oop, that one, yeah, it's a little tight. Anyway, it's super quick. That's awesome. Love it. So, I mean, no need to make the combo die because you can swap these out so quick. Yeah, and then again, like Coal Iron charges so much money for their dies. It's crazy because they use heat-treated steel, and I don't see the point in that. I do not see the point, because you get them hot enough, you're going to ruin the heat treat anyway. And all the dies I made for my Coal Iron are just regular old steel, and I've been using them as long as the rest, and they hold up just fine. So yeah, so this die change system, like way better than anything Coal Iron has. Even their other ones, you have to use an Allen head to unscrew it, pull it out. anyway, this one, amazing. The other thing that I really like about this is you can't really tell, but they're just going metal on metal here. So, and it looks like there's some grease spots where you can squeeze. I don't know if there's zerts in there or not, but yeah, I mean, you can just grease this up, good to go. There's no wear plates, like on the coal iron. I'll show you. You have these silicon bronze wear plates, which I've had this thing for 5 years, and there's hardly any wear. I mean, there's a little wear, but obviously it's all on the softer material. And with as much use as this is seen, which is not a crazy amount, I don't use it every day for hours a day, but there's very little wear. Let me see if I can get up here and give you a better shot of this. I mean, it's still hard to see, but there's just the slightest little bit of wear in here. But the worst thing about these, I was constantly tightening these bolts because they would keep coming loose. And, you know, people are like, weld them. Well, you can't weld them because this is silicon bronze and steel. I mean, you could probably braze it, but I don't want to have to cut that off every time I wanted to retighten these. And then finally I cleaned them out well enough that I was able to get some Loctite to somewhat stick in there, but then it just broke loose and I was back to square one. So having to tighten these like once or twice during use was just ridiculous. Like, I don't like the wear plate thing. Like I'm saying, with as much as these wore over the past 5 years, and this being a softer material, I can't see the steel against steel ever breaking down in the time I have that thing. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a great machine, and I don't have any plans to get rid of it. I mean, maybe if I find that I stop using it, because honestly, I mean, this thing's really quick. Little 1 horsepower motor. You know, it's really quick. It's good for forging. I could keep my you know, like my butcher dies and stuff like that. This thing's perfect for all that, for, you know, forging tips in, doing the basic forging on a knife. It's fantastic. And it's good for billets too, Damascus billets, but when your Damascus Sorry about that. Had a little technical difficulty with my microphone, so we're just going to do a voiceover. So basically I just went on to say that it just, with the lower amount of power in this press, it just takes a whole lot longer to get that billet pressed out into the length you're looking for. Now one more clip of this awkward voiceover stuff. So here I am putting the dies back in so that I can get a measurement of the height that you'll be able to effectively use for whatever size billet you need to work with. And here I am fiddling around with the handle, admiring its smoothness. Very nice. So anyway, let me grab a tape measure and get some measurements. So height wise, we're looking at about 8 inches. We're a little shy of 8 inches. The dies are about 4 inches wide, and I think they're square, so 4 by 4. Then you got like 9.5, 10 inches on the width. So now back to normalcy. So I've got the steel heating up, and I was just thinking about how I kind of don't like how this handle is like this. This is how it comes, and I mean, it's just different than what I'm used to. So I was kind of wondering if there was any way to change it. I saw this little cap right here and figured like maybe you need to take this off and put it on the front. But actually, this thing just unscrews, and then you can screw it into the front like this, and it's right to what I'm used to, pushing up and down like that. It's a little more difficult in this orientation, but it's probably going to stay like this. So while the steel's heating up, I kind of want to go over a few things that I feel should be changed. As far as the design, I mean, it's great. The Like, I went over some of the stuff that I really like. The welds are good, the construction's good, everything's square. You know, the dye system's amazing. No silicon bronze slides, perfect. One minor thing is the way it's crated up. I understand that he probably just uses material that he has to crate it up, which I'm not complaining about 100%, but it would be nice to have all the same hardware to take it apart. You know, either all, you know, metal screws or all torque screws or all Phillips, or just that way you're not searching for all your different bits. You know, like I said, not a big deal, especially with the amount of money that you're saving by not going with coal iron. It sounds bad, but I mean, coal iron's great. The other thing I don't like is there's no instructions. Some of us don't know a lot about hydraulics. If we did, we'd probably be building our own. And so instructions would be good. I mean, you know, how often do we grease? What kind of grease do we use? The hydraulic fluid, how much do we need? What kind do we need? Because again, not everybody knows about that stuff. Getting those connections set. Like, I could not figure out how to get those connected, so I had to YouTube it, and some farm guy was like, oh, you gotta knock them loose because there's pressure in them. And then I did that, and I saw some hydraulic fluid squirt out, and then all of a sudden both sides connected, no problem. You know, little things like this. The top one's got a little notch so it fits in there. The bottom one doesn't. I mean, just, it's stuff you figure out. You know, we have plenty of resources for it, but just like a little instruction sheet would be perfect. It would be helpful. And I'm sure there's a few other things here and there that, you know, I'm probably going to be like, why is it like this? And then, you know, instruction sheet would explain everything. So those are really the only two gripes I have. Other than that, I mean, you're saving a lot of money. Like I was saying, this is half the cost, almost half the cost of a coal iron. And whether it's just being greedy on coal iron's part, I have no idea. Like I said, you know, they've got more overhead, they've got more machines and buildings and employees and all that stuff. So maybe that's where you're saving. But I appreciate the people. I can't remember who it was. I know Joel, the colorful counselor on Instagram, he was one of the guys, and there was one other person that gave me the heads up on this stuff. Man, I really apologize, but he also told me that the 12-ton coal iron is not actually, it doesn't actually put out 12 tons. He said it's more like 8. I don't have any way to test that, but if that's the case, that's kind of disheartening. Hopefully that's not what they're doing to people, but there's apparently you put a pressure gauge on it and there's a way to figure that out. But I really appreciate the community coming in and making me aware of this forge, because it made it easier for me to purchase one because the price is so much less. And I'm really hoping this video helps, because like I said, there's not a lot of information about these Clark iron presses out there. There's a few videos here and there, but no description really at all. So I'm really hoping this video helps get some exposure to Clark iron, because I mean, I think it's him and maybe one other person plopping these together, and they're doing a great job from what I can tell. Along the way, if I find problems with this thing, I'll make another video somewhere down the road after I've had a chance to use this for a while, and I'll let you know what I think. So let me see if the steel's hot enough, and maybe we can see how it's gonna work really quick. Okay, yeah, we do have some hot steel. So really quick, these both have cold dies, and like I said, you know, 12 ton, maybe 12 ton versus 25 ton, it's gonna be no contest, but I just kind of want to show you that this thing is barely gonna touch this material. It's I think it's like 3/8 inch. It's a piece of leaf spring. Pop this in here, and we'll just take little bites so you can see even those little bites, we got hardly anything out of that. And obviously it sucked the heat out of there really quick, but we got almost nothing with those little itty bitty bites. So let me heat this back up, and then we'll switch over to the 25 ton. And I'm kind of doing this more for myself. I just want to feel good about this purchase. So if this doesn't, you know, make a significant dent in this thin material, I'm just gonna send it back. Just kidding. All right, what do we got? What do we got? All right, so whew, that cools that down a lot. So not crazy, but definitely a lot more than the 12 ton did. And the steel's not really hot either. I mean, we're only at like 1700 degrees or so. Well, not even that now, but yeah, that does a pretty significant number on that. So I think this is gonna be awesome. Let me throw the drawing guys on really quick. We'll give these a whirl too. Man, I love this. So quick. Sticker to help to remind to keep your nose pickers out of here. Oh yeah, so yeah, it's ugly, but I mean, that's 25 tons worth of pressing right there. So anyway, I really hope that this has helped you make your decision if you're one of those people out there looking for a new press or your first press. I would 100% recommend this thing, especially, I mean, like I said, 4,700 bucks, shipped to your door, ready to go. You just gotta hook it up, put some fluid in it, you're good to go. Anyway, I really hope this has helped. If you have any questions about this, feel free to ask me. I'll answer whatever you need. So appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next one.